Welcome to TMI with Teryl and Martha. We are so glad to be here today, and we want you, if you're watching us on YouTube, to be sure to like and subscribe so that you can be a part of this community and this network, and we look forward to that. And Teryl, we have a very exciting guest today.
Yes, I have been chasing Joy around, trying to get her on the show. Tis the season, right? And her name is Joy, so it's perfect timing. But anyway, Joy is a great friend. She has become a great friend to me. And Joy also has a local therapy practice here.
That's right.
In Gainesville. But she has like many, many different hats. And one of the important things I think to bring you on a wellness podcast is for us to talk about not only mental health, but we can talk about the different projects she's working with and Reiki, which is very dear to my heart. Reiki is energy work that people can do with the body. And you know, all things said, we're looking to share alternative practices with people so they can understand, including ourselves. We get to educate ourselves more and more on what Reiki is, how it works, and also the passion project that she's working on that is near and dear to my heart as well. It's called Project Yet. Project Yet is going to be heard more about as we go along, hopefully in 2026. It is a great 501(c) that we have here in Gainesville, and she has headed that up, and lots of fun things have happened. So I'm going to let you kind of tell our audience what your background is and what you're up to.
Well, thank you, Martha and Teryl, for letting me come on this show and being a part of this. I've really looked forward to it. So funny enough, today is the 4-year anniversary of when Project Yet started.
Oh my gosh, that couldn't be any better timing. It's not an accident.
And Yet stands for Youth Empowered to Thrive. It all started 4 years ago. I have a private practice here in Gainesville. And at the time, I was working a lot with teenagers. And as they aged, it's like, what is going to happen to these young people when they turn 18?
Yeah.
Many of them are on the spectrum. They have significant mental health challenges, or they just don't have support.
Right. Or skills just to even be in the world. Yeah.
Right. So it was really bothering me. And there was a cohort of young people who were going to turn 18 around the same time, like within a year or two of each other. And they were worried. I was worried. And I was swimming one day at Brunel, and it just came to me, Project Yet. They're not ready yet.
They're not ready yet. That's such a great.
Got out of the pool, dried off, went home, looked to see if their domain was available. It was, bought it, registered with the Secretary of State, put in my application with the IRS to be a nonprofit.
Wow.
And then on this date, 4 years ago, I brought together the group of young people, and I told them what my idea was, and I asked them what they thought. And we spent pretty much the whole day together coming up with ideas, a logo, tagline, everything.
They got to be involved in it.
No, they designed it.
They did.
They designed it. Even a adulting skills curriculum. So they really said what they needed.
Right.
What they thought they needed to be successful. They needed a job.
Right.
Many of them needed a place to live. They needed to learn how to do basic stuff.
Yeah.
How to deposit a check at the bank. Many of them never had a bank account. They needed help with their college applications if that was, in their future.
Right.
But most important of all, they needed community.
Yeah.
They were lonely. And
that's amazing.
Day after day, as a therapist, I had, these kids in my office, one after the other, saying how lonely they were.
Yeah.
Every one of them. And so I got them together. Yeah. I kind of do things a little differently.
Created a community for them. Yeah.
And that community has burgeoned into Project Yet.
So it's so interesting that you would say that, because you do hear about this kind of loneliness epidemic with young people.
Right.
And I think it's because there's a lot of things that have happened. I mean, obviously the introduction of cell phones and how they can live in this world by themselves.
Right.
and not really develop relationships. You're hearing all kinds of stories. I serve on the State Board of Education, and we're just implementing rules about no cell phones in schools. But there were some school systems that had already done it. Mm-hmm. And so we had fantastic results as a result of that. And that's what led to the legislature passing the law. It was a weird thing. K through 8, they passed it for, and now people are pushing to get it through high school. They thought it would be too hard to change the high schoolers, so they did K through 8 first.
Right.
But what they found is things like lunchrooms were noisy again. Because kids were sitting there talking to each other. They were doing the things. So there's that. There's also this, we laugh about, I think, how our homes have gotten bigger. George Carlin has a famous joke that I will not tell it exactly the way he told it, but about how, you get these bigger and bigger houses and you have more stuff and you're just inside all the time instead of being on your porch talking to the neighbors that go by. And so we've created this kind of double-edged sword. I have this theory about communication methods where there's a good side and a bad side to every communication method. So like the first Gutenberg press printed the Holy Bible, but also printed medieval porn books. Okay, so there's a good and a bad. There's like this thing we hold in our hand is fantastic because for me, as a mom that was going back to work, being able to have a laptop and a telephone that I could work from anywhere, the swimming practice, the whatever, and I could keep up and get back into the workforce. It was a plus. That was the plus of it. The minus is you get to where you don't ever talk to real people anymore.
Right.
And then over time, you don't know how to talk to real people anymore.
And we're adults.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I won't say how old I am, but I'm definitely
do it. We both do it all the time.
I do.
I will be 56 next 2 weeks.
Yes.
2 weeks.
Yes. I'm 66.
I'll be.
So we remember what it's like.
Yes.
To talk to people.
Yeah.
We were digital immigrants.
Yeah. That's a good one.
When I went to college, when I went away to college, my graduation gift from high school was a typewriter.
Oh,
yes.
yeah. Oh,
yes.
I
we didn't grow up with
this.
this. So we have the neural pathways for connection. But what happens if you were born in the digital age? If you were born in this age where from the time you were able to sit up, you had a cell phone in your hand?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
How does that change our structure of our brain? We don't even know yet.
Well, that's our generation now. We've got the first generation of children now being born, then into a time where there were nobody remembers not having.
And that term adulting that you used, because I didn't hear that with my older children. It was my youngest child that just turned 34 this year. She was the one that talked about adulting. And I think it's so interesting because like when I went off to college, you had a phone on the wall in your dorm room and you called your parents once a week, get this, when the rates were down. Because, if you didn't, really, you called on the weekend when the rates were down because long distance phone calls were expensive.
Exactly.
So you might not talk to your parents but once a week, which meant you had to figure things out. You had to solve your own problems.
Well,
you had to get
thinking had to be tested.
And now we've got parents. You would not believe the number of parents that fill out their children's college applications.
Oh, yeah, I would. I'm a swim coach at Brunel. Trust me, I know what parents are capable of. And I'm also a therapist. I know exactly what parents do for their kids.
Yes.
And with
you think
love
you're
in their
helping.
heart. Yes, with love in their heart. But you're right. Critical thinking is like a lost art.
Yeah.
And it's not that these young adults are lazy. First of all, I hate that word.
Yeah. It's not fair, really.
They're not lazy.
Yeah.
Right? They don't have the same neural pathways that we developed as kids. So we have to give them experiences. And we have to stop doing everything for them.
Right.
But don't just drop them. Give them opportunities.
Now, you mentioned being at Brunel. So do you think being in that academic world, because somewhere along the way, college was a place where you were sent to learn to critical think. I mean, you should have gotten some of it in high school, but you had tough professors that allowed you to fail. Okay.
In college.
Yes. But is that because and your professors never knew who your parents were. Come on. There was no,
No.
But now professors, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is it because parents started inserting themselves and they're paying the bills and so they end up with a problem?
Well, I think we're identifying a societal and cultural issue. So it's going to permeate everywhere. It's not going to be just at universities and colleges or, in the community. It's going to be in all the fabric of our life. So that's what we have to remember with the advent of all these wonderful technological advances. Beautiful, great. I know I love my cell phone, but if anything out of balance is going to have tremendous side effects. And I don't think we give that as much attention as it deserves.
Yes.
So
we don't.
I grew up practically feral. My parents would be like, leave the house when you wake up in the morning and come back.
I locked my children out of the house.
Yeah, we've had this
I'll admit
discussion,
it.
haven't we?
We were
Yeah.
wandering in the beach. We were doing whatever.
Yeah.
All of my siblings, I'm the youngest of 6. And now that wasn't particularly good. I have a lot of stories about that I write in my blog. However, we have gone the other extreme.
Yes, overprotection.
And that the kids don't know how to figure it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
How to be
it's
tough.
the 4th
resilient.
year of Project Yet. I'm sure you've
Yes.
seen some response. I see your eyes light up just when you mention that.
It's
Yeah.
such a great thing.
I could have never predicted the impact that it would have, not just on the young adults, but on the mentors and the board members or the friends of Project Yet who help out, come to the adulting workshops, and are just there to be with the young adults and support them. It has been tremendous. We have our first young adult that is graduating from college next week,
that's
Georgia State.
amazing.
Yeah, very proud.
Yes.
I was in Publix a little while ago on the way here, and I ran into one of the young adults that lives at the Project Yet house, and he just started a brand new job on Monday where he's a distributor in the grocery industry. So I ran into him at Publix,
that's
and he was
amazing.
doing his job.
That's great.
So we need to back up Project Yet House. What is
Yes,
that?
I was going to say that's new. Yeah, that was an exciting moment for the.
It was incredible. So what do you do if you don't have family support and you're 18, 19, you're trying to work and have a place to live? Where do you live?
Yeah,
Good luck
especially
affording
now
it.
things are
I
so
couldn't afford an
expensive.
apartment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like having a safe place to live and not couch surfing is something that the young adults identified in that first meeting 4 years ago. But how do you do that?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it was a part of the strategic plan all along. And then we had land donated, right? And we're like, okay, this is it. We're going to build something. But there were some difficulties with the land that would make it cost prohibitive to actually build there.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, we got a local landlord
Yep.
that said, I have a property on Burnell Avenue. Not Burnell Avenue, Pryor Street.
It's very close to here.
Yeah.
Right, very close,
Yeah.
right down the street, right down the street from Burnell. Would you like to look at it?
Of course.
And I'm like, I'm on my way. So the next day I went to look at it. I walked in and immediately, like, tears came to my eyes. It was perfect. Absolutely perfect. So now we have 4, soon to be 5 young adults living there, and we have a waiting list. And
That's
we
amazing.
just got the property the end of May.
That's
Wow.
amazing.
That just shows you the need.
Well, they were just talking on the news. I was watching, just kind of playing around the house, and I was watching Channel 2 news. I'm not sure which station it was, but they were interviewing some 501(c) in Atlanta who had been successful in procuring a huge apartment complex that was otherwise going to be taken out.
Demolished.
Right. And they have turned that into a program for the foster children aging out of foster care, because they went through the whole thing showing how these kids are being given a black trash bag filled with their clothes and basically saying, good luck out there.
And that's my
know,
background.
And yeah.
I
And
worked
I
in the
thought,
foster
oh
care
my
industry.
gosh, that's a problem.
Yeah, and it's a problem internationally. And so I came into this role as a therapist and also, starting Project Yet with the background in working in foster care.
That's
And
right.
I was in charge of the foster care service in Ireland, the southern part of Ireland. I moved here from Ireland.
Yeah, her husband's got the brogue. Yes,
So,
very Irish.
and you're right. Black trash bags, absolutely. Right?
Yeah.
Well, and the good news is in the last couple of years, Florida and Georgia have passed some laws that have extended some of the help that these foster
I
kids
think
get from
that's-
18 to 24, which is
It's helpful.
really positive. Rick Jackson, who owns Jackson Healthcare, has been very involved. He was a foster child.
Oh, wow.
And so
That's such good
he
news.
remembers telling the story about sitting in the balcony at the Fox Theater because he would like sneak in there to watch movies because he was in 11 homes and, you know, and he's got a great family. He's built one of the biggest businesses. I mean, I definitely in Georgia, maybe in the world, who knows, it's called Jackson Healthcare. But he hasn't forgotten where he came from.
Right.
And he does so many things related to foster care and that sort of thing. And that's so exciting because you do need that kind of transition. And hopefully this young man you saw in Publix, you know, in 3 to 6 months, he'll have enough money saved that he can go out and live on his own, which
You
would be
betcha.
great.
That's
Yeah,
the point.
absolutely.
That is the point, is giving them that
That's
safe
right.
start.
And an important differentiation is we're not serving young people coming out of the foster care system, right? We haven't had anybody approach us,
That's
for
in
that
that
need.
situation. Right.
Because they have case managers or they have
Yes.
somebody
Mhm.
that they can go to for that. What do you do if you do not have that? Right? You fall outside of the umbrella of child welfare systems.
Yes. There's a lot of that. I
There's a
had
lot
no
of that.
idea until I met Joy how big that need was.
It really is.
So what is the need you have for Project Yet? I mean, if you were going to give your elevator speech
Yeah.
to convince somebody about the work you're doing and what you need, what would you say?
Well, a couple important things. We need to pay the rent. We need to pay the utilities, right? We also ensure that all the young adults that live in the house volunteer. They have to volunteer a certain amount of hours per month. They have to have a budget. They have to work with a mentor. They have to have a job or be in school or actively looking. We have other responsibilities for them, obviously cleaning the house, learning different skills. So they're not just placed in a house
They have to
and
give
then we
back.
walk away.
They've got a responsibility.
We're training them to be good citizens,
Right.
not
Yeah.
just adulting, but good citizens.
That's our job as parents too, Not everybody understands that. And, but that is really one of our bigger jobs as
Mhm.
parents, I think.
So what we have set up is giving the opportunities for individuals, families, or businesses. We're asking them to sponsor a month of the Project Yet House. So a month of the Project Yet House is $2,000. And some people sponsor just a week, and that's $250.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so it depends on where people are coming to support us from. Some people can afford to support us for $2,000.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Others, they give us donations of clothes that they have laying around the house, and that helps too. So,
Right.
so really, it's fairly new endeavor for us.
Well, and you're doing what you can.
We're doing
Right.
what we can.
You're not
Right.
going to solve we have the same challenge at our church. It's a lot of people come in and need things, and we do what
Right.
we can.
Mhm.
We do what we can. We try to help where we can. And I think that that's important. That's what you get. You see a need and you meet it. And it's so much better that it's met in the local community, because when
I
that
think
money
so.
goes up to Washington and comes back down, about half of it's gone.
It is.
So this way you get the money, people know what they're paying for. One of the charities that I'm involved in at the University of Georgia, I don't give to the annual fund because I think they got enough money, but I give to what's called Let All the Big Dogs Eat. And I sponsor students on the meal plan.
Okay.
And there's 4 students that we sponsor. We get thank you notes, which is not the reason why we do it, but it's nice. But we were first generation college students. We were middle class college students. And if we couldn't have, paying for a meal plan is the difference between being able to stay in school and not be able to stay in school, because it's expensive, but you need the meal plan. You got to eat. So you got to find the ways to give back. And that's what
Right.
you've done with Project Yet.
Right. And it really has made a huge difference.
Yeah. And I think the more people that know about it, I always feel like service in numbers really almost helps more than one person giving a lot.
Right.
Right? More people talk about it, We can do something at the spa on Green Street, and we'll try to do some fun stuff combining the spa with it. I'll try to, but maybe more people in the community can hear this and go, wow, what could I do that could help Project Yet? Because these are the people that are going to be out in the world that are going to be supporting us one day in some way, shape, or form. We're going to need them to be able to adult effectively as we age in this culture that we have. And anybody watching that is living outside of the Gainesville, Georgia area, maybe what Joy is doing sounds very exciting, and maybe it's something you feel inspired to do in your area. So we'll make sure we leave your contact information, and we'll let you say it verbally as well, because we are YouTube, but we're also all the podcast stations. But we'll leave it also a way for people to get back in touch with you.
That's fantastic.
But segueing also from into that, she is kind of combining all of her skills and talents. So one of the other hats she wears is the Reiki hat, right? And Reiki is fast becoming a mainstream energy work that is being brought into a lot of cancer treatment hospitals, legitimate hospitals, where they're having people treated, a lot of seniors especially, or cancer patients being treated with Reiki in the hospital, which I think is amazing. I've done some research on that, and I'm pretty proud of these hospital, and maybe even here, they might be doing it here. I'm not sure yet, but I heard speak that it could happen. But Joy is a Reiki master, so she's educating, and a lot of these Project Yet kiddos are coming through the Reiki programs and becoming Reiki masters.
That's right.
And wow, they can start their own business with that. They can come in somewhere like the spa and
But let's back up, because a lot of people don't know what Reiki is. So why don't you tell us what that is first?
Yeah.
It is a traditional Japanese stress management system or tool. That's the simplest way to say it. Using energy. We all have energy. Everything is made of energy. Right? So it's not a religion whatsoever. It is all about where people come to find Reiki. So I was raised Catholic. It's not a Catholic doctrine to do Reiki, but it is a Catholic doctrine to take care of yourself.
Right.
Right. And the Holy Spirit is something that is talked about in the Catholic Church, right? Mm-hmm. Well, Reiki is channeling whatever spirit you're connected to help you manage your own stress and gently be able to feel into your body and know what you need, tap into your intuition, and basically relax.
Yeah, it's very relaxing.
So it's been very special for me, because I would have rolled my eyes at Reiki going back 5 years. No, seriously. I was like, I'm a scientist.
Yeah.
I don't believe in this stuff. And I went to a women's retreat, and I wanted to go to this particular women's retreat because it was in Joshua Tree. I'm like, I want to go to Joshua Tree.
Yeah.
But it was about Reiki. And I said, no bother. I'll just take a little nap when they're teaching Reiki. That is not what happened.
Take a nap.
It profoundly impacted me, and it set me on this journey. Since then, I've started Project Yet. Since then, I've started women's circles here. My life has expanded in ways I could never imagine, and even writing. And I put it a lot down to being able to manage my own stress and get in touch with what is meaningful to me.
Right.
When you're super stressed, you don't know what you ate for breakfast.
No, it's a short circuit. It's like you're short circuited.
Yeah.
Your nervous system is
nevertheless tapping into your intuition. So Reiki has been just a beautiful, compassionate, gentle practice for me. I'm super passionate about. Matter of fact, I have written a program that I'm so excited about called Reiki for Children.
Oh, yeah.
And the first group
amazing.
Will do that in January.
How old do they have to be?
Have to be 6 and up. 6 and up. And it's going to teach these kids how to have a stress management technique that they can do on themselves from a young age. What a gift that's going to be as an
Oh
age.
my goodness. Might put you out of work later.
It's all right. I wouldn't mind it.
yeah.
I wouldn't mind it. So being a therapist and working with kids, I see the level of anxiety
Yeah.
that children carry these days, and adults too.
Yeah.
We have to do something. So it just clicked. I'm going to combine my skills as a therapist, and I wrote the curriculum. I took the Reiki information and put it into a child-friendly format, and going to do it
I love
in
it.
January.
And I think this is great. I wonder too, what advice would you give to parents? Because I have a theory that I think parents are spending a lot more time looking up how to parent on the internet rather than talking to the adults in their lives about parenting. But that could be wrong. I don't know. But it seems to me you've seen a lot of different things, and what would you say to parents, about not necessarily bringing them to what you're doing, but of course that would be great, and it would be great to run you out of business on Project Yet. That would be fantastic.
Absolutely.
But what would you say to parents out there that are watching and thinking about, what are the best things they can do to help identify and then help young people manage their stress? Because it's not all at one, it's not like 1 minute. It's something that builds.
Yeah.
Well, I would say start with managing their own stress.
Yeah.
Anxious parents create anxious children.
Oh, that's
Sorry,
so
I'm just going to be
true.
blunt.
Yeah.
Right?
This is a good time to be blunt. They can't
it's
tell
true.
anything back to you.
But it's true. I mean, challenge me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of years of experience with this, and we have to manage ourselves.
Mhm.
We have to instill the values that are important to us as a family in our kids, and take the time to sit with them, teach them, listen to them.
Right.
Pay attention.
That's what
to
meal
what's going
times
on
used
with
to
them.
be for
Mhm.
once upon
And
a time.
have some structure.
Yeah.
Kids need structure, right? They need structure because their brains are growing. They need to figure out how to do things. So it's great to have that type of environment where they can explore and be curious, but also they know they're safe, that they won't go out of bounds too much, right? And what I see happening is parents go from no structure to rigid structure,
Right.
and the sweet spot is in between.
Right.
Let them fail, let them try things, but also make sure they go to bed before 1 o'clock in the morning.
Mm.
Make sure they
Yeah.
eat breakfast, have a stable meal time.
And I think people are because of all the onslaught of social media, which we talk about, they're afraid to really kind of create the consequences that are what I call consequences the bumper guards. Like when you're going to play when you're going to go do bowling with a toddler, you're going to blow up the bumper guards in the bowling lane so that they can always at least hit one pin, right? So if you don't put the bumper guards up and give them a shot, which would be boundaries, then they're never going to be able to at least have some success, right? But then if you have no boundaries, or boundaries with very loosely held and zero consequences,
Or inconsistent.
yeah, or either one day you're leveling it, the next day you're letting them get away with it, or the famous, I see this happening within my own household all the time. All right, hurry up, let's go. We're leaving.
Yeah.
Right? And then you look at the mom and the kids starting to get their stuff, and the mom just gets, squirreled off into doing whatever, and she's not actually leaving. So then she says, okay, come on. I said we were going. But meanwhile, the kid's already gone off. But the kid gets in trouble. But because the kid was like, well, you didn't leave. So I'm not going to believe you when you say, let's go now. And that creates those kind of like back and
Anxiety.
forth. Yeah, that happens. So, and I was guilty of that. I'd be like, all right, let's go. And then all of a sudden I'd trail off and yap, yap, yap. And whatever.
Sounds like learned behavior to me.
It is learned behavior. I mean, that's why I can see it so well. That's one of those things.
That's what Lynn Zoller would say.
Oh my
That sounds like learned
gosh.
behavior.
The things that stand out in you in other people to you are usually something you've got,
Well,
yourself.
I think it's so important too. Obviously, there's never been a manual for parenting, right? But there are family structures, and those family structures are under siege, and I think that we've got a lot of work to do with young people because I see this. I work with a lot of young people. The job I'm in, I have a lot of 25-year-olds and I've been that way.
Interns.
In both of my government jobs that I had, campaign work that I've done, you work with a lot of 25-year-olds. What's interesting though is that people that get drawn to that kind of work tend to be the higher functioning because they can be given a lot of responsibility at an early age. And people are afraid to do that, but you got to be able to do that too. I just think that I'm an optimist. All right. So I understand all the things you're saying are true. I'm not denying any of that, but I tend to think that there's a path out. And, I think what you're doing is one of the things that are the path out. It's also being available to help people. And, my sister died 15 years ago and her daughter just had a baby. And so we're going to her christening in a couple of weeks. And she said, Marnie, I'm Aunt Marnie and that side of the family. Marnie, my mom's not here. Will you help me like she would have? And of course I said yes. And I'm thankful that Liz asked me and that she had me to ask. Do you know what I mean? It's a two-way street,
right?
So we got to do a better job. I think a lot of young people just go around saying, not just young people, lots of people, oh, I'm so busy, I'm so busy, I'm so busy. Well, busy is dangerous. They say idle hands is a devil's workshop, but I think busy is too.
Sure.
I think it's a distraction in general. And going back to the phones, I think we've lost our way in some aspects.
Yes. Yeah. Balance, really, it's about balance.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite sentences and questions that I give parents that I work with is to ask their kids, what do we do when? So instead of, firing away instructions and, yelling at them or criticizing them for not being ready for school or whatever it is, say, what do we do when we get ready for school? What are the 4 things we do?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
we
great.
Grab a backpack, we get our shoes. Teach them.
Yeah.
What do we do as a family when it's time for dinner? We wash our hands. We set the table. So using the language like that.
Where they're having to think through the steps and the processes. That's
also,
great.
I don't put up with, inappropriate behavior from kids. I never have. I'm actually fairly strict. You wouldn't believe that, but I am. I address things with kids,
right?
But I don't yell at them. What I do is I say, what do we do when we're upset? What do we do when we have big feelings?
Right.
And we don't know what to do with them? We don't yell and hit.
So how
give them other options. Yeah.
So how does the Reiki fit into that? Your Reiki practice fit into that?
Well, it's a very compassionate and gentle way to calm your nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
It's a structured way. You follow steps, and it's like meditation or mindfulness and prayer mixed into one.
I love it.
So have you ever talked
it.
to the folks at Hall County Schools?
I actually did a presentation for them about Project Yet, and I did another one about off topic, but human trafficking prevention.
Yeah. So it's interesting because Will Schofield and his wife have put together this kind of de-escalation
They're in Rotary, aren't
program. Yeah, this de-escalation kind of thing that's been really helpful in Hall County Schools. And it sounds kind of like, I'm not going to say it's Reiki, but it sounds like what you're talking about. And they have been able to, and what they did that was different is they not only taught the kids, but they taught the teachers and all the staff people.
That's amazing.
And so they have dramatically reduced and altercations are not just physical, disagreements, altercations, verbal, physical.
Emotional.
They've dramatically reduced that with employees, with students,
That's amazing.
And and he's going around the state and the country teaching this because he wants to stop violence in schools before it gets to that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's
that's
just
that's like what we talk about every show.
Yeah.
It's root cause.
Yes.
Like that's homeopathic medicine. That's traditional medicine. That is the way that the ancient Chinese practices, the Japanese who started working with that's how you really get well.
Yeah.
Is you get the root of
and you
the
do
problem.
it every day. Like Reiki isn't something I just occasionally do. Reiki is a part of the fabric
your
of
wake
my
up
life.
process.
No, she's so
Yes, it is.
I called her yesterday in an emergency, and I forget that I have some of the skills for this. Like, I understand I've done Reiki enough that I understand. And it was after I reached out to her, she couldn't physically be there with me. Then I remembered, I think I know how to do this. But my neighbor's horse was in a choke. They call it a choke, and he couldn't swallow. So anybody out there that owns horses, you know that if you're in a situation, an emergency like that, especially today, access to large animal vets is very limited. We're in a real crisis when it comes to large animal vets. I had no idea how bad it was until my neighbor called 5 vets, large animal vets, and none of them really could get to her.
Mm-hmm.
So we had no choice. So I'm texting Joy. He needs Reiki. What can we do? Because a lot of times it's calming them. He had been given a sedative. And then we finally found somebody that taught us how to massage his neck and then put some water in there. But my first instinct was Reiki. Like, let me go to Joy.
We had success with your horse.
Oh, she worked.
Pig.
Yeah, I should send pictures to Tara, our producer, who's magical and just turned 40. Anyway, I should send some pictures because you should see, Martha, the picture I took of her working on Jack. This is great for animals, by the way. Animals respond almost immediately because there's no preconceived notions as to, is this a culty thing? Is it religion? Is it, I'm scared? The animals don't do that. So the animals just drink it up, right? And there is a blue wave visible in the photo between her hand and my horse's head. It was after he had injured himself. And you could almost see it. It was just the most amazing picture. And she sat with one of my potbelly pigs. My senior pig, Angelica, before we had to put her down. She spent time with her, and that pig went from, hardly being able to walk to, after Joy would spend a little bit of time doing Reiki with her, she got up and walked around. In fact, the day we had her put down, she got up, kind of did that thing we talked about with Mary Himmer about just had that surge of energy. She went out, she had watermelon, she hadn't been eating. She grazed with her 2 siblings, out there. And she had a very easy transition. And so I think that's part of the reason why it's becoming mainstream in the hospitals, especially for palliative care and hospice care, but also for people who are in the hospital dealing with very,
secondary trauma. Yeah.
Yeah, very difficult situations. They're bringing them in. So we do have an amazing person at the spa now that does some Reiki, and her name is Kim, and you can really read through what she's doing on the website. But
so Joy, tell folks how they can contact you and how, about both programs there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you can contact Project Yet at www.projectyet.org. You can also go to my website of my practice is Thrive Gainesville. So just like it sounds, Thrive, THRIVE, Gainesville.com. And then I have my wellness portion of my practice where I do Reiki, and it's at Thrive with Joy.
Oh, I love that. Thrive with Joy. Very good. .com.
She has a Reiki.
Yeah.
She has a Reiki center right there where her practice physically is.
That's very exciting.
Just up the street. So my hope is to see Reiki become more mainstream than it is, right? Along with some of these other things we're working with. And, again, also working with our beautiful Northeast Georgia. We're so lucky to have that hospital right in our backyard. So there's nothing wrong with utilizing both avenues. In the world that we have today, it's almost hugely necessary. But to have someone who can help us with our kids, our grandkids, Joy is helping me in so many different areas. And I just love the work you're doing. And I appreciate so much that you've gotten to meet my friend Martha and get to come out here and talk to us about what's going on. And I really hope everybody that's listening kind of thinks a little bit more, does a little bit of their own homework. I'm a big proponent of do your own research. Look it up, think about it, talk about it. And of course, experience it when you can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Joy,
Well, I was just going to say one more thing.
yes.
Yeah.
On Instagram at Project Yet.
Oh,
Okay.
good.
Follow me there.
Insta.
Yes, that's
Insta.
right. And also, if anybody wants to do something small for young adults at this time of year, gas cards and grocery cards. A lot of the young people are food insecure and they need gas to go to work. So just a $10, $20 gift card goes a long way for these young people.
So where would we, like if I wanted to donate some gas cards and gift cards to Project Yet, who would be responsible for receiving those?
You can take them to my office at 324 Brunel Avenue, or you can mail them to us, although that could be risky. But yes, you can bring them to the Project Yet house. And I'm sure I could get in touch with some businesses in the area that would agree to take them and receive them and then give them to Project Yet.
Well, we could do that at the spa. If somebody wanted to bring gift cards to donate to Project Yet, I'm happy to be a place of receiving because
Right.
I know where you live. So we'll do that. And we'll definitely, the spa on Green Street with absolutely open hearts, we'll be happy to support the Project Yet
Thank
group
you.
with that.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for being with us today. Remember to like and subscribe. We'd love for you to be a part. Put comments in, give us suggestions as far as what you'd like to hear about. It was so great to hear from Joy Kelleher, right?
Kelleher.
Kelleher today. It's that Irish pronunciation,
Yeah.
right? Joy Kelleher today. And we appreciate you being with us.
And again, it is the holidays coming up. It's very important for you to regulate your nervous system. So look into that Reiki. And if you're not in the local area, maybe talk to somebody you know and try to work up a Project Yet type opportunity. You can always get a hold of Joy and she'll be happy to let you do that. But Martha and I, again, we love doing what we're doing here. It's passion work for us. It is stress management for me to know that I am doing something that is my purpose in a sense. So as far as we're concerned, we know that your wellness deserves a little oversharing.